Am I the a-hole for putting my brother on speaker and letting his fiancée hear about what he's been asking me to do? Context: I'm male 23 and what people call tech savvy. I know like a bunch of stuff about computer programming and mobile software, and yes, I even got the right looks to match my skills. Lol. But seriously, I consider myself good since plenty of people come to me for help. For free, of course. So lately, my brother, male 27, has been asking me to install a tracking app on his fiancé's iPhone. Like, he had brought the phone to me twice, and I refused after he tried to pressure me to do it. He even offered money, but I refused because I felt it was kinda wrong. And also, I only help out people who only want to be helped, and like, don't have bad intentions. I refused because his fiancée doesn't deserve this. I thought he had dropped it after I told him that if he asked me again, then I'd tell her. Well, a couple of days ago, he calls me up while I was at my parents' home. His fiancée happened to be there too. I answer the phone and he brings up the tracking app again. I put him on speaker and be like, "Sorry, come again?" He says, "It's about the tracking app I want on fiancé's phone. I need you to do it tonight when I stop by with her phone." He proceeds to tell how he could no longer lie about her phone missing when he hides it and brings it to me. Basically telling me this was the last chance he's got to put the app there. My parents go silent, but his fiancée looked shocked, then goes off on him and then he hangs up. She grabs her purse and rushes out. My parents lash out at me asking what the heck I had done. I tell them he refused to get off my back after I warned him. They cuss at me saying I just caused a huge problem between my brother and his fiancée, and stuff like that. I grab my stuff and leave shortly. Later, my brother was calling nonstop, and when I gave no response, he sent a nasty text calling me names and stuff, then saying that I might have just compromised his entire relationship. I haven't seen nor heard from my family nor him since then. I feel terrible, not gonna lie, and like I really messed up by putting a private convo on speaker. So guys, am I the a-hole? Note that this started right after his fiancée got a new job recently. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Technically, he compromised his entire relationship. And you warned him. Normally, I might say someone also sucked for interfering in the relationship, but absolutely not when it comes to such deceitful or even potentially illegal stuff. Not an a-hole. Yeah, after the first time, dude could have straight up went to the fiancée and told her and been not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. This is what I came here to say. He's trying to blame Opie as if he's not the one who started the whole thing. Playing the victim when he did it to himself. Opie specifically said to tell the fiancé. It's not Opie's fault his brother didn't believe him. Not only are you not the a-hole, you did not do something that you knew would be the wrong thing to do, even while facing pressure from your family to do it. That's really difficult. You saw a red flag and made sure a woman in a potentially vulnerable situation saw it too. By letting her hear the words from his mouth, rather than just letting her know what he was asking of you, you were able to sidestep the whole "who are you going to believe" question that might have arisen. You did good here, kid. To add from Harry Potter, it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. I therefore award 10 points to OP. What you did wasn't easy. Bravo. Not the a-hole. I'd say it's even harder to stand up to the peer pressure of friends and family. OP should be proud of his backbone. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to take down my daughter's graduation photo and replace it with my husband's graduation photo? My daughter 18 graduated high school, and I hung a photo of her graduation party on the living room wall. She wants to go to a community college and will live with me and her stepdad while doing that. My husband recently earned his master's degree, and yesterday he showed me his graduation photo that he framed and prepared to hang. I asked where we were gonna hang it, and he said the living room. I said, great, right next to Amy's graduation photo then. He said not next to it, but instead of it. I was puzzled. I asked why, and he said that he didn't feel it was right having his graduation photo, a master's degree, be hung next to a high school graduation photo, a high school degree. He said that both photos have different weight and value, and suggested I take my daughter's photo down and hang his instead. I was fuming because he refused to let her photo be hung anywhere near his, and by that he has claimed the entire wall. I refused and said this photo has been here for months, and my daughter deserves to have it on display for encouragement. He got upset and said that I was making it a big deal, and could instead just use the hallway hall or something, but I refused. We had an argument about it, And he kept insisting on having her graduation photo be taken down and not be hung on the same wall as his due to difference in degree, value, and weight. And also, he thought that a high school photo isn't hang-on-wall worthy and called me inconsiderate of his feelings. He says it's disrespectful to him and his efforts and said that I am choosing this hill to die on was ridiculous. Am I the a-hole for choosing this hill to die on? Not the a-hole. I'd hang it right over the toilet where his attitude belongs. Can you imagine the next time he sits down to take a dump and it's hanging on the back of the toilet door? That's what he gets for crapping an OP's daughter's achievement. Seriously? What kind of grown man with a master's degree is threatened by kids' high school graduation? The question OP needs to be asking is, why does my husband see my teenage daughter as competition? This is not healthy. Wow, has his masculinity always been this fragile? Not the a-hole. He has his moments, but this is certainly strange. Honestly, it sounds like a power move being made against your daughter, starting the exact moment she hits perceived adulthood and therefore independence. Is he against her staying with y'all during community college and potentially looking for ways to make her feel unwelcome? The one-time dad's temper wasn't anywhere near his norm. We also called it strange repeatedly. It was for a reason other than the norm as well. You can tell him I said this was my master's degree if he gets mad, received while also pregnant with hyperemesis and working. I only mention this since it's apparently a pissing match about weight and value or whatever. Alternatively, you can argue the weight and value for raising a good human to adulthood and through basic public education is heavier than a master's. The inherent value of my daughter is why my comment that's independent, says my degree shares space with school photos from kindergarten. Agreed it had something to do with her age. When I started becoming independent in my own person, and admittedly a lot like my dad, is when my stepdad stopped liking me and started to bully and isolate me from my mom. Not an a-hole. This could have been a lovely family achievement wall and your husband ruined it by being an a-hole. You're right, and this was my suggestion as well. I have a feeling that now that your daughter is 18, he wants all of the attention that she got because she's not his real daughter. And I'm betting on some resentment. And she's 18 now, so no more kid stuff to placate a child. As if she's no longer your daughter but some rando adult who doesn't need mom's love. Next story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to be away from my twin sister? So I, 17 female, have two older brothers, 19 and 21, and a twin sister. I should mention that my family is pretty affluent. Ever since I remember, my parents encouraged me and my twin to compete with each other while they always favored her over me. She always had their support, and I was expected to be considerate. When I succeed on something more than she does, they ask me to give it up. But they never ask this from her. I do love her and my parents, even though I feel like I've been treated unfairly. Both of us aspired to be doctors for a long time. I studied really hard for it for a long time. So did she. This year, we graduated and both of us applied for the same programs at the same universities. The process here is quite different than it is in the US, as we can start med school right after high school if we get accepted. She wants to go to the same university as I do, and so does my parents. I, on the other hand, feel like going on my own and have a separate life from my sister. I love her so much, but we've been together our entire lives. She's an introvert while I'm an extrovert, so she followed me around most of the time. I always included her and made sure she's happy, but it's been like this our entire lives, and I'm honestly tired. Not to mention that if we go to the same place, I would be expected to study with her and help her get high grades, and won't be able to study on my own and focus on my success. And my parents will be mad if I succeed more than her. It's been like this for the past 12 years, which will eventually hurt me. I just want to finally be a person of my own. This is where I might be the a-hole. I got accepted to 4 different universities while she got into 2. I waited for her to decide where she wants to go and then made my decision. Like I said, different place. Then she changed her mind and said she wants to go to her second option, the one I chose. I said that is not a problem, and I will go to a different place, the one she didn't get into. My sister got really offended and my parents are furious, even though I explained myself politely and said that I love her but wanted to get a fresh start where nobody knows me. They demanded that I will go to the same place as my sister, or else they won't pay for my degree. Then I said whatever and that I'll be fine on my own and left to my grandparents. When they came to talk to me, they just kept on saying how wrong and entitled I am. I really had enough, so I told them I hate them for treating me like this. Now I'm refusing to talk to them and ignoring their calls. My brothers and grandparents are on my side, but everyone else is telling me I'm an a-hole. So am I? Now for the comments. Not a-hole. You have the right to choose what is best for you. You have a twin. That doesn't need to define you. If you feel like you need some time apart, then that is what you need. No one can blame you for what you feel. Your feelings are yours and yours alone. I would talk to your family though. Sit down at a table and have a, if possible, relaxed conversation. Tell them how you feel. Don't go screaming and say, "Hate you. You always put me up against my twin." Say instead that you feel like there has been favoritism, that you feel like it has been a constant battle. But most of all, you need time and space to be you. Just you. Not you and your twin. You are your own person. Tell your sister how much you love her and your parents too, but this is for yourself. Make sure that they listen. It might be hard, you might cry, but don't scream or shout. Tell them you love them a lot. Try it after dinner, when everyone has eaten and everyone is in a good mood. How they are going to react, that we don't know. But remember, you are in charge of your own reaction, but you cannot control theirs. Good luck. This sounds a lot like what Opie has already tried. From my understanding, and I might be wrong, she did it when she was angry and upset. Handling tough conversations when you are in a state of anger will make the point less obvious and redirect the conversations to the "I hate you" instead of the real facts. I actually explained it to them when we first applied to universities. They insisted that we'll try to get into the same place, and I agreed, but told them that while I'm sort of okay with this, I want to be on my own and have a chance to focus on myself. I believe I was polite. And I thought they understood me since they said that we'll discuss it later, but did not mention it until we got the answers. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for banning my sister-in-law's son from my house until she finds out what's wrong with him? For context, my 33 female husband and I host all our family gatherings. We have a 5-year-old daughter. The story also concerns my brother, 37 male, and his girlfriend Stacy, 37 female. Stacy has a son, George, 7, from a previous relationship. George has severe behavioral problems that became evident from the first time we met him. He's hyperactive, destructive, belligerent, nasty, and his mother can't manage him. Whenever his mother brings him to family events, we are all on high alert. He has to be watched constantly, especially around any other children and animals. We have not had an event with him present where at least one thing hasn't ended up broken. He will break plates, throw food, throw tantrums, screaming and swearing and flopping around on the floor, and more. It's exhausting to have him around, and frankly, the kid freaks me out. We all kept out of it because he's not our kid. He's not even my brother's kid, so it's certainly not our place. But our whole family knows there was something not right with him. Earlier this year, the family all visited us at our vacation home, and George was his usual self. The final straw was him using foul language and saying horrible things to my daughter. My husband stepped in, and a crying George played victim to his mother, and this caused an argument between my husband and me, and my brother and Stacy. I told Stacy we had absolutely had enough, and that her child of the corn would not be allowed back in my house until she found out what was wrong with him, and had a plan to manage his behavior going forward. At the time, everyone supported our decision because they all said it was high time Stacy recognized that George's behavior was not normal boys will be boys behaviors. We haven't seen them since the summer. About a week ago, we were all locking in plans for Christmas, which we planned to spend at a ski resort. Stacy texted me to confirm about plans, and I asked her what she had done about George. She said nothing official, but his behavior had been getting better. I told her nothing except some kind of diagnosis from a medical professional and a documented plan to mitigate his behavior would get him back in my house. Stacy has since been complaining to everyone that I'm discriminating against her child, claiming his behavior has improved. She has also accused me of thinking she's a bad mother because she works, and of disliking her and George because he is not my brother's child. None of that is true, but now everyone is saying that I should relent and let them come, on the understanding that she is responsible for any damages and will leave if he acts up. I don't want to bend on this because I don't want a drama-filled Christmas, or to have to be the bad guy and kick them out around the holidays with no other plans. Am I the a-hole? Edit. People were asking about the resort, so to clarify, we own a chalet in the resort, and the whole family will be staying at our chalet over the Christmas holidays. Not the a-hole, but I think requesting a medical diagnosis is a bit much. A behavioral plan is totally in order. The diagnosis doesn't matter so much, but the behavior does. She, They, if including your brother, has to be able to address his issues so people feel safe and property isn't destroyed. How will you handle tantrums? How will you handle inappropriate/rude language to others? How will you handle violating rules of physical space? Those are the areas she needs to answer. And if she doesn't have a plan or answer, then no, they can't come. His getting better is BS. Although I agree with most of what you said, gotta respectfully disagree about the diagnosis. A child with a learning disability, ADD, or a severe personality disorder all have to be approached differently. Whether with meds, behavioral therapy, or a combo of both, a diagnosis is required and very important. Sounds like the kid has either been severely spoiled or has a potential personality disorder that needs to be diagnosed. I'm aware PERS disorders are diagnosed at 18+. I misspoke as I couldn't find the right terms and got my wires crossed. That aside, Stacy needs to find the source of her child's behavior. Sorry I wasn't clear. I 100% agree the diagnosis is important to the mother and the child, but the rest of the family doesn't need to know what that diagnosis is, just that they have one and are working on treatment. And they have a solid plan for how to handle this child. I'm a parent of a neurodiverse person, and we had tons of support and treatment and plans for situations like this. And a diagnosis at a young age. But in my humble opinion, the label is less important than the treatment plan and behaviors. But of course, you need a diagnosis to get there. Not the a-hole. I personally would cancel on hosting the whole family at a resort this Christmas, since everyone is pushing you to cave to Stacy. Make it a private holiday for you, dear husband, and your daughter. Let your extended family make their own holiday plans and even host George in their homes.